Hello, everybody. Have a good evening. Welcome to 360 Sports. Today I'm here with Viviana, Luke, and Jenna. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to take a second to recognize all the men and women who served in the military on this Veterans Day. We thank each and every one of you for your service. Now, let's get into our headlines for the day. So, we have to start today's show by talking about the crazy game that we saw last night. A total of 7 interceptions were thrown, with 5 coming from Jared Goff. But the Lions still beat the Texans 26-23. Detroit is now 8-1, while Houston falls to 6-4. What are your thoughts on these teams?
Well, first I want to ask you guys, what did you think about those interceptions? Because personally, I thought 3 of those interceptions from Jared Goff were not his fault.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's
Ball
what I
gets
was going
tipped.
to
I
say.
mean, he's not throwing directly to them. Like, it's
Right.
just frustrating for the guy.
Yeah, I agree with you, but when's the last time you saw 5 interceptions in a game?
No, it still is
Yeah.
a lot. I do
Yeah.
have to agree, but I think this just shows how gritty the Lions are as a team. They had the chance to prevail and they did it. The chances are very slim, but they were still able to do it. So I think you should applaud them for that. They scored 19 unanswered points and they had 2 50-yard, over 50-yard field goals. Yeah. So that's crazy. The comeback was insane. They deserve to be happy. And yeah, Goff never lost confidence despite those interceptions.
Yeah.
I think most quarterbacks in the league probably couldn't do that. They probably couldn't throw that many interceptions and still come out with a win. So the fact that it didn't let him hurt his ego, that's good.
Yeah, he came out saying after the game that he still even though he was throwing interceptions, he still felt good throughout the entire game. And as you said, they were down 23-7 at the half.
Mm-hmm.
So it's insane.
I think that has to be a nod to the coaches, though, to keep
yeah.
your QB in and make sure he's still confident. That has to be a nod to Dan Campbell and everyone else out there.
Yeah, the Lions have a phenomenal coaching staff. It's one of the best in the league, I will say. But, the conversation then falls to consistency. You look at the Lions, you see a consistent quarterback, a consistent team, a team that always wins. They've only lost 1 game to the Buccaneers this season. I mean, the Texans, on the other hand, though, they have those inconsistencies.
Yeah.
You have a sophomore quarterback in
Right.
CJ Stroud. The Texans' O-line is not great, and, I'm pointing them out here. The Texans' O-line is not consistent. Last week against the Jets, they allowed 8 sacks on Stroud. This week against the Lions, they allowed 4. And the other person I'm going to have to throw under the bus here is Kaimi Fairbairn, who's the kicker for the Texans. He's not a bad kicker, not by any sense of the word, but he is not clutch, and that is really bad, especially when you have these game winners. He missed a 58-yarder, which, albeit it's not automatic, but when you have a long of 59 yards this season and a career long of 61 yards, you start having the conversation of, should this guy be on our team for the future?
Yeah, if he would have made that, they would have given the Texans a lead. So, and then they turn over the ball in the Lions. When the Lions got it, they were able to kick at the end too. So
yeah, for sure. All right, we're going to go ahead here. Another great game that we had this week was the Thursday night game, which never happens. The Ravens barely scraped by and beat the Bengals after Cincinnati went for 2, but didn't convert. Now, Jamar Chase had 264 receiving yards with 3 touchdowns, and both quarterbacks had the games of their lives. Is the Bengals season over now that they're 4-6? Are the Ravens the best team in the AFC? Please indulge me.
I think the first thing we got to say is, wow, what a game. I mean, to watch a receiver go for 264 yards, his QB throws for 428. That is an insane game to watch, especially on a Thursday night. Can't get much better.
And they're both on my fantasy team.
They're both on your fantasy team?
I know.
What was that, 80, 90 points from them
Yeah,
alone?
I was looking at it and I was like,
90
This
points
is a
from
great
2
week.
players is diabolical.
I know.
it's wild.
You were saying though, sorry I interrupted.
Wow, what a game. I mean, to see a game on a Thursday night, only game of the day, to watch them show out, it's a great time.
Definitely.
Yeah, the Bengals, now they're 4-6, and I'm a little concerned for them, I'm not going to lie, because their upcoming schedule, isn't necessarily hard, but it's not easy. They still have to play the Chargers, and the Chargers are still doing pretty good. They have to play the Steelers twice, and they have to play the Broncos, and the Broncos are looking pretty hot right now. So I'm not really sure about how their season's going to end.
Yeah, so I thought the Bengals would be done. I was like, it's over, but then the Chiefs kind of gave them some hope, winning their game and going 9-0. So that kept the Broncos just 5-5 on the season, and the 4-6 Bengals now get to face them in Week 17. So we'll see how that goes. I do think there's still a chance. Do I think it's likely? No, I think they are done, but there's some hope. There's some hope for Bengals fans right now. And they're one of 2 4-6 teams with a shot at the final seed in the AFC. So we'll see what happens there.
They're getting slimmer and slimmer. The Bengals'
Yeah.
playoff chances are just simply getting slimmer and slimmer. And you have one of the best QBs in the league and one of the best wide receivers in the league. They're both top
Right.
5 in receiving yards and passing yards. And they could just completely miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the 2010 Chargers. They had the number 1 offense, the number 1 defense, but their special teams was so bad that they completely missed the playoffs. Obviously, that's not what we're talking about here. This is the Bengals, and they're a different team. But the Ravens, on the other hand, have shown just an incredible amount of grit. They are a gritty team. They're a really good team. And their record, the Ravens' record, doesn't show how great of a football team they are. And even the Bengals record, you could argue, doesn't even show how great of a football team they are. But the Ravens, there's not a hole in their roster. I genuinely think they're going to make a really deep playoff run, possibly make the Super Bowl this year.
See, I like agree, but the thing is, Lamar always chokes in the playoffs, and this is where I find it super frustrating. Like, I mean, I'm happy they're losing. I'm a Steelers fan, but like, it's frustrating seeing Lamar. Just struggle in the playoffs. I mean, you want them to get far. I mean, especially Derrick Henry. I would love to see him get a ring, but it's like, can they do it in the playoffs? I mean, regular season, clearly they can do it. They're leading in passing, rushing, like total yards overall. But when it comes down to the playoffs, that's where I'm a little iffy.
Yeah. I think time will just tell there. Hopefully Lamar doesn't stick with his ways. I guess we can just say that.
The issue, the Ravens' pass defense is terrible. Like that's, I think that could be their issue in the playoffs. And with Lamar, like you said, he's just not consistent. When he gets to the playoffs, he chokes and it goes downhill. And you're right. On paper, I feel like a lot of the teams this year are really good. So when you see who's on their team, you're like, they're going to be great. They just can't put it together. They can't put it all together. They do have weapons. I think so many teams do. But I don't know. This year is like weird for the NFL.
It is a weird year.
I mean, I'm not sold on the Ravens. I'll tell you that now. An ugly loss to the Raiders, an ugly loss to the Browns. Those are 2 bad teams.
Right. Yeah.
Those are teams you cannot drop. Now, a loss to the Chiefs makes sense, but losing a game to the Browns and the Raiders, those are ugly losses that can't happen for us. A Super Bowl team? Absolutely not.
For sure. We're going to continue on. We're going to go to our next headline here. There were some wild Week 10 games. That is for sure. The Chiefs blocking the Broncos game-winning field goal.
Crazy.
And the Steelers barely coming out with the win against the Commanders. But to you guys, what's another game that stood out to you?
I thought the Vikings and Jaguars game, I thought that was pretty wild. And then Sam Darnold throwing 3 interceptions. I was like, what are we watching? The Vikings were supposed to be dominant this year. And they barely won. They barely won 12-7. So, I mean, they've lost 2 games. Should have they lost this game? Not sure. But I don't know. I feel like Sam Darnold yesterday just was not playing good.
Yeah.
Game that stuck out to me right here has to be the Patriots and the Bears game. I mean, the battle between 2 rookie quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, just stinking it up. I mean, you haven't seen a great stat line out of him all season. Got to start having the conversations. Was he the best QB in this draft now? Jaden Daniels is putting up absolute video game numbers, and he can't get it going.
I always had an issue with him going number 1 just because of what he did, like at the NFL. What was it? The Combine. He's drama. Anyways, moving on. I thought that the Saints beating the Falcons stood out to me. Thanks to Tyrann Mathieu's interception. I think this is a big deal just because they just brought in a new head coach, and I liked what he was able to do for the team. They've lost the 6 games before the one they just won. So I like this for them. This is a little bit of a turnaround. You beat the Falcons. The Falcons aren't horrible. And I've just heard that this new coach has a lot, like people have a lot of good things to say about him. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
For sure. The game that stood out to me was the Cardinals-Jets. Cardinals are on a run. You got to give credit to Jonathan Gannon. You got to give credit to Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. They're looking great. They're looking spectacular. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were a dark horse pick for the playoffs. I'm not going to lie. I'm really sold on this Cardinals team, how it's looking right now. Okay. We are going to move on to our next segment. So this one is going to be overrated squads. Now, we're pretty much through week 10 of the NFL season. Only got 1 game left. It's a Monday night game. So this seems like a great time to pick out some overrated teams. I want you guys to go to the board and give us teams that you think have been getting too much hype or their record doesn't reflect how they play. We'll start with Jenna, then Viviana, then Luke, and then myself. And I am very excited to see what you guys have picked.
All right. I'll get this started. This is a little ironic, okay? I know I'm going to get hate for this, hence the jersey I'm wearing. But I'm going with my Philadelphia Eagles, okay? This guy right here, I don't like what I'm seeing from him.
Ooh.
Too many mistakes. He's gonna cost the Eagles in the playoffs if they make the playoffs. And I think it's gonna fall under him. I think the team's playing well as a whole, but his mistakes, not good. Also, will Saquon Barkley get hurt? That's the real question. He used to be injury prone. He's been okay this season, but I also think he's getting too many carries. You got to give Gainwell the ball a little bit. He didn't do bad yesterday. So that's where my issues lie. Again, I think the Eagles are one of those teams where you look on paper and you say they've got all these weapons, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, the list goes on, okay? A lot of great guys, but they're having a little trouble putting it together. I do think they look better as the weeks go on, but you can't forget 2 weeks ago they lost the they almost lost to the Jags. They blew a 20-point lead in the second half. Not good. And I think they're too inconsistent. That's what I'm going to say. Record might be 7-2, but in my eyes, they're not that good right now.
All right, then let us ask you.
Right now.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah. Do you
Okay.
think Sirianni should stay
But
as
that's
coach?
what I was thinking. Sirianni, they
Or
are
do-
5-0 since he shaved his head or whatever.
It was the hair. It was too much.
It
It's
was
the
the hair,
bald era of Sirianni.
but-
The bald. They call it like bald Iriani or something.
Yeah.
It's something that I can't say.
I
don't
do
know.
think Sirianni is getting. It depends on where they end up this season. I was worried there might be a firing mid-season, but I couldn't see the team doing that now. So I think they'll be fine.
it is just kind of like
yeah.
it's time will tell.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Mhm.
going to be like the whole thing. Time is just going to tell. All
Yeah,
right.
Right.
All right.
What do you have for us?
Okay, I feel like this is pretty obvious, but I picked the Chiefs. I think they're overrated. I mean, clearly they're a defensive team. I mean, which isn't bad, but like once they hit playoffs, like is Patrick Mahomes going to be able to pull through? Right now, he's playing mediocre, and that's not what the Chiefs need, especially if they want to three-peat. He needs to be playing. I think he's ranked. He has like 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's not good. For rushing, they're also not that good either. Like I said, they're a defensive team, but they need to score points to be able to win. When it comes to playoffs, like I said, are they going to be able to? I know Patrick Mahomes, when it comes to prime time and in the playoffs, he's a completely different person. And hopefully, we will see that. But I don't know. The record at 9-0, I just don't think it reflects of how they're playing, especially how he's playing. Like, I don't know. Patrick Mahomes, not the man right now.
Yeah,
All right.
isn't this like Patrick Mahomes' worst start statistically since he's been in the league?
I believe it.
I think it
I
is.
do, but I was
That's-
going to pick them too, so I completely agree with your take.
Yeah.
But they continue to win. At the end of the day,
Which
I
they
know.
continue to win.
Trust
That's
me, they
simple
get
as that.
bailed out of almost every game.
Yeah.
Bailed out, not bailed out. They're winning. They're 8-0. They're number 1 in the NFL. It's
It's a
what are you
testament.
going to do?
It's a testament to their coaching,
On
to
the
their
mic, what's it called?
defense.
During the game,
I
wasn't
always
he
love
telling?
Andy Reid.
Wasn't he telling the referees to be like, "Hey, tell me when they're coming at me"? And they literally caught him saying that on mic. Like, come on, dude.
I don't know.
I just don't like the Chiefs.
I don't
mean,
either.
plain as
Who
I
does?
just want them to stop
Who
winning.
does? But at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL.
He's
Unfortunately.
not
Family.
playing like it though.
He's not playing
not
like
playing
it.
like
Not
The
this
point
year.
is, he can flip the switch and he will be the best player in the NFL. It's that easy for him.
We'll see.
Someone
All
clip that.
He's 2 in a row right now.
No,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
I want to hold on to that. For later.
All right, Luke, you're up. Let's see.
All right.
Let's see what he
All right.
has.
Bringing it over. For my team this week, I have chose the Commanders.
Okay.
Now, they've been playing all right? They're 7-3. They look good, but they have had a Mickey Mouse schedule. The only real games they've had are against the Ravens, which they lost, and they've only barely beat the Giants twice. They can barely beat the Bears, who aren't a great team. Now, Jaden Daniels is playing great, out of his mind, Rookie of the Year candidate, but he's not going to be there. He's not just there yet. They have an elementary offense. They haven't been able to get off over the hump yet. So for that reason, they're just not there yet. They're a good team, but not great. 7-3 is not where they're at. What? No,
Mickey Mouse
Insult,
schedule,
insult,
elementary
insult. Oh my
offense, dude.
goodness.
I'm loving this.
they're running a.
It's funny.
hate the Commanders.
It's
That's what
simple
it's
as that.
sounding
They're
like.
running a college offense for Jaden Daniels. He has not got to
Okay.
NFL style yet. They need
Okay.
to pick it up. They haven't played anyone that good yet either. And when they did, they lost. They can barely beat the Giants, who suck. Let's be honest. They barely beat the Bears, who are not that good. Did they? What, last second Hail Mary? Until they can show us that they can be
yeah.
a real team, I'm not convinced against it for them.
I know. I love you saying that since, NFC East over here.
I just
Love it.
kind of loved the way you explained it. Just really brightened my mood, made my day, honestly.
Right.
And they play the Eagles next, so
They do Thursday
out.
night.
That's a big
this
game.
Thursday
That's
night
such
game.
a big
It is gonna
game.
be a
I'm
big
so
game.
excited.
That'll show
especially
which team
for
is
first in
legit.
their division. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. All right, it's my turn. Okay. So, the team that I chose for this squad was the San Francisco 49ers. Look, they have a winning record. Look, on paper, they're a good team. They haven't been playing up to their potential. Yes, Christian McCaffrey's back, but how much is that really going to change?
Mhm.
They have been extremely inconsistent. Every win that they have, I think, except for one, has been by one possession. And they had a 41-10 loss to the Cardinals. Now, I know I said I was big on the Cardinals, but that was when the Cardinals were supposed to be bad. And this team is supposed to be the best in the NFC, or at least one of the best, and they haven't been playing like it. Not to mention that they still have a really tough schedule left. They still have to play the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals once more over, and the Packers and the Lions. And there's another team that was down there, but I completely forgot. They have a hard schedule. Their last 6 games are difficult. So we're going to just have to see how they fare from, this honestly pretty slow start, I would argue, for the San Francisco 49ers.
I agree.
Would you blame this, though, for them not having Christian McCaffrey, though?
No, because their offensive line is that good that Jordan Mason was putting up great numbers when he was still in, and he's supposed to be the depth running back. But he was putting up great numbers. They have Trent Williams. Come on.
No, yeah, I do.
Biggest sleeper team.
The biggest sleeper team?
I might have to agree with him on the Cardinals there.
The Cardinals?
I do.
They're on a
I
4-game
mean,
win streak right
4-game
now.
win streak. Jonathan Gannon has, led the team out of, a couple seasons of poverty, honestly.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's looking good. They have Marvin Harrison Jr. It looks like they just have a bright future.
ahead, yeah.
That's what I'm really excited for. I want to see what they do. That's what I really want to do. I kind of want to see how they take this and how they run with it, barring a collapse.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen for them, though. We're going to continue on with our next segment, Stop Light. So there will be 3 NFL takes that show up on the board, and I want you guys to give it a green light, which means you agree heavily, a yellow light, which means you're kind of on the fence, you're not fully sold, but you don't hate it, or a red light, which means no go, you disagree. So after you pick one of the 3, please explain why you have that light. Let's start with the first take. Lamar Jackson will win the MVP. What do you think, Viviana?
I'm giving green light. I think he's most definitely playing like it. Right now, he's second in passing yards with 2,669. He's tied first for 24 touchdowns, and he only has 2 interceptions. And right now, he's number 1 with his QBR of 77. So I think he's looking pretty good. I mean, the Ravens are really dominant, as we said. He has Derrick Henry with him. I don't see him slowing down. I think he could definitely. He's been up MVP numbers. I think he could definitely take it. Green light.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with the yellow light. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he won an MVP this year. But one, I think voter fatigue is going to get to the NFL MVP voters. I don't think they're going to want to vote for him 2 years in a row. And second of all, I think someone's going to come out as a dark horse. I think someone like Patrick Mahomes might have a second half of the year, which
Don't even
puts
speak
everyone,
that. Don't even
You
speak
guys
that
act like
into
he's not.
existence.
He's the most talented quarterback the NFL has ever seen. It's
You
that
seem to
simple.
really
I mean, you're
You
not
like
wrong,
him.
but you
You
don't
like
want to
him.
admit it.
I mean, he's a great player. He's fun to watch play. What he does, you've not seen another player do. It's that simple. And when he turns on his switch, he is the best player on the field.
Yeah.
That simple, no matter what field he's on.
Sure. I gave it a yellow light too for different reasons. My reason, there's still a lot of football left to play. When the Eagles got to their hot start last season, they completely ruined it by losing 5 out of their 6 remaining games, which was devastating.
Traumatizing.
Definitely. That hurt. Hurt right here. Regardless, yeah, he's still playing at an MVP caliber level. He's still an amazing quarterback. He's still one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league right now. And I kind of want to have a conversation. Is there still a chance that Derrick Henry could win it? Is it a QB only award?
Yes.
I think you have to kind of, even out yourself here.
Green light for me. I have always loved Lamar Jackson, and I like to think that this year's different. We'll see if I'm wrong. but he completed 25 for 33 passes for 290 yards with 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions against the Bengals on Thursday.
Bengals have a sorry defense, though.
Doesn't
You're forgetting
matter.
about that part.
Okay,
So
still.
Kate said Aaron Rodgers clears.
Aaron
Oh.
Rodgers clears.
I mean, are we, this
Oh.
year? I don't know.
Not
No,
this
not
year.
this year.
All
Prime
time,
Rodgers,
probably.
Prime
but like
Rodgers,
this
yeah.
year?
Prime Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback all time. I mean,
Awful take. All right.
Horrible.
CMC coming back makes the 49ers a top 3 team in the NFC. Who we got there? What are we thinking?
I put yellow light.
Me too.
I just he's out. Like, is he gonna stay healthy? We'll see. And like you said, I don't know. I just feel like the 49ers aren't like playing that good right now. Even
No.
like I don't know, they do have to prepare, like teams have to prepare a lot for him. He does take attention off, like how you said earlier, like Deebo Samuels and all the other wide receivers. But I don't top 3, I think top 3 is pushing it.
Yeah, I
Top 3 is
agree.
pushing it.
I think their problems lie like way beyond CMC.
Yeah.
I think they've just got too many issues. I don't think he's going to come back and make a huge difference.
Yeah.
No.
Not now.
I want green light. I think you bring CMC back, you take a lot of pressure off Brock Purdy. That is a person you can give the ball 20, 30 times a game. He's going to have,
And he gets hurt again, though.
Well, he's a running back. It's what happens. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. They're going to have to give him the ball 20, 30 times. They're going to take some pressure off Purdy. They're going to take some pressure off Deebo, take some pressure off George Kittle. Everyone else is going to get a little more breathing room, a little more separation. It'll make it a lot easier to get the ball out.
I said red light. I'm on the opposite side. I don't think this will be the season for the 49ers. Think of it as a Super Bowl hangover, if you will, you know? Maybe they prove me wrong, but I think the top teams in the NFC right now are the Lions, Eagles, and Commanders. And yet, statistically, they're also the top teams in the NFC. But, like, they still all have a good chance to make the playoffs and make a run with the level that they're playing at. And, you know, I just think they're playing better than the 49ers, even with McCaffrey. So I'm gonna have to go red light on that one. Let's get our last take for this one. The Cowboys are the most disappointing team in the NFL this season.
I'm giving this a green light. I feel like green light, yellow light, but I don't know. The Cowboys, they have like more problems, not necessarily like with their roster, but their culture, especially like Micah Parsons, like just started talking like disrespectfully about the coaching and just in general. I mean, they're playing horrible, especially at home. I mean, I dislike the Cowboys very much. I'm happy. I'm glad to see them lose. But like this isn't how they're playing. It's a culture issue, and that's what's so disappointing. And then Jerry Jones doing nothing in the offseason. I mean, they could have gotten Derrick Henry. Like, who knows what have happened?
Oh, don't say nothing. They re-signed their long snapper. That's huge.
My bad. But like,
Come on now.
it's disappointing what they've done and what they've shown, and I don't see them like turning it around. And then Dak's probably out for the season if he has to get surgery. I mean, they brought back Zeke when they said that they got rid of him because he wasn't producing. Like, make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Make
It
it make
doesn't make
sense.
any sense. I went with the Saints because beginning of the season, they had all the hype. People thought they were a top team. They already saw them going to playoffs, and they were doing really well. And I was like, wow, they came out of nowhere. No one was expecting this. Derek Carr was doing great. People were thinking him for MVP. Now, it was way, way, way too early, but people were thinking him. And you know what? Ever since then, things have just gone way downhill. They're getting beat week after week, and they're getting killed. Like, it's not good. And so I think they're really disappointing, starting off the season so strong and then just declining.
All right. I said green. Look at my jersey. I mean, is this bias?
Yes.
Yes, but also not really, because please indulge me. Again, name another team that has had higher expectations that has been extremely disappointing. The Saints had no expectations going into the season.
But you think Dallas had expectations?
No. They
Have you
didn't.
I
seen
don't
their
think-
fans?
no one ever
They're
had-
delusional. Of
I-
course they had
Any
expectations.
Dallas fan I
You look
talked
at their
to,
team, and it's like they knew this year was going to be horrible.
you talk to any Dallas fan coming to the season, they were not excited. They knew what this year was going to be. And that's why I had them as red light as well, though. Oh, that was my red light because there was no expectation for them to be good this year. They didn't re-sign anybody. Their roster wasn't there yet.
People
You knew
still
that.
thought they could, fight for a playoff spot, but now it's not even looking like that. They have no depth at QB besides Prescott. Cooper
Oh,
Rush,
Trey Lance. Trey Lance is a phenomenal athlete. What are we
Oh,
talking
You know
yeah,
what?
really.
Oh, God.
They're just simply trash. I'm just going to say it
Yeah,
outright.
yeah.
Cowboys
They
are
are,
trash
but
this
I-
season.
I do agree with your argument. I think
They're not the most disappointing because there's
going
no
into the
expectation.
season, yeah, exactly.
Simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Is that everyone? Is that
Yes.
everyone? All right. Sorry, I wasn't aware. Now we got Box Score Warrior. I'm going to show you guys a couple of questions about stats from this season, and we're gonna have to try and answer them correctly. Okay.
Okay.
So here's our first statistic. Who has more all-purpose yards this season? Alvin Kamara or Bijan Robinson? It's gotta be
Alvin,
Kamara,
yeah.
right?
I think it's Bijan.
You think
Really?
it's Bijan?
I haven't heard
I haven't
anything
heard-
from Kamara.
Yeah.
Really?
I
Not,
haven't
not
heard a
since
word.
the beginning.
He had
But
yeah.
ever since,
fair,
yeah,
that's
I haven't heard
fair.
anything.
All right, we are split on this. We have 2 for Bijan, 2 for
I think we
Kamara.
should just stay with.
Just stay with it. Just
Yeah.
stay split.
Yeah, we
All
should
right.
stay split.
We have split. Let's see what it is.
Who-
Alvin, let's go.
We knew
Let's
it.
go.
We knew
He's been great. He's simply been great. He's a fantasy god as well.
He
He's been
is.
doing phenomenally this year.
And I didn't think he was going to be that great at the going into this season because I feel like people were kind of thinking he was washed, but like he's
No,
proven them wrong.
he's proven them wrong.
Yeah.
I do like Bijan doing well though. I like
Yeah,
seeing
I
him
like
doing well in
him,
the
yeah.
Falcons. All right, here is our next statistic. Who has more receiving yards this season? Ooh. That's difficult. How are we thinking?
I'm gonna have to go with Amon Ra. I
Yeah,
think.
I'm going
I mean,
Amon-Ra.
he's the number 1 option on an 8-1 team.
Yeah.
Got to be him.
He has not been too great this season. I would know. I have him on my fantasy team.
I had him on my team last year, and
But he has his moments, and I do want to go. I do want to go with Amon Ra. I want to feel hope.
fine by me.
But you want to go Amon Ra
Yeah,
too?
let's do it.
All right, we all got Amon Ra. Let's see.
I like him.
Oh, it is Nico Collins.
Nico.
Nico
Oh,
Collins has
by
been
such a
hurt.
small, by only about 40 yards.
Is Amon Ra really having that bad of a season?
He's having a bad
Really?
season. He is
my
having a
I did
bad
not
season.
realize that.
Only about 40 yards. It goes to Nico Collins.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
I guess shout out to the Texans for that one. Which team has more wins by double digits? Ooh. I'm going Chargers.
I think it
is the Chargers.
I know the Ravens have been scoring a lot, but I think so.
But
the
they have
teams they've
had
been
close
playing-
games.
Yeah, they've been
but
having close
Chargers,
games.
the opponents that they've played pretty well against
Wait,
them. What
I
do you
don't get
think?
it, guys. I don't get it. Like, what's
Which
the
team
math
has
say?
won by, more than double digits?
Yeah.
Like 10 or more.
10 or
Oh,
more.
right.
I think the Chargers. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd have to agree. with you
Totally,
there.
guys. Yes, the Chargers are definitely it. I'm telling you right now. That's yep.
No. All right,
Yeah.
we got Chargers. Who is it?
Fine.
Yes.
I know, we
Good job,
literally
guys.
knew
Good
it.
job.
We
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
knew it. We knew
The
it.
Ravens have kept every game pretty close this
Yeah.
season, in fairness.
Yeah.
And the Chargers have been really surprising, and I
Yeah.
kind of love that
New
for
head
them
coach,
because
yeah,
I
that's
really
all,
like
yeah.
Justin Herbert.
Me
So
Mhm.
I'm okay with the Chargers doing well.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got a game tonight. We got the game of all time. All right, we have a Monday night football showdown against the 2-6 Dolphins going against the 4-4 Rams. So
Mm.
everyone, please give their predictions. We'll start with you, Viviana.
I'm going Rams. I just think they look better. I don't know. Tua, I don't know. After his multiple concussions, he just still scares me. And I don't know. I just feel like he's not playing that good, and neither are the Dolphins. I mean, 2-6, a record clearly shows it. So
Mhm.
Rams, 4-4, decent. Definitely could be worse. They're mediocre. But I just think when facing the Dolphins, I think they can most definitely win. And what's it called? Puka's back. Love Puka Nacua. So I think him and Matt will go off. So hopefully they have a good game. I'm going Rams.
All right, well, I actually took the Dolphins here because I think Tua's now back. He's starting to get into the swing of things a little bit more.
No, there's no
No.
swing of things. He's like mentally like not there.
Yeah, I feel that.
All right,
for
well,
him.
all he really has to do is throw it really far and hope Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill gets under it.
Okay.
And that's a
Tyreek
pretty-
Hill's not even 100%.
Yeah, I don't even know
He
if he's
doesn't need,
playing.
he's fine. He'll run out. Even if not, Jalen Waddle's still faster than anyone else on the
Right.
field. It's just simple as you throw it deep, someone will get under it.
Okay.
I think there's more talent on that roster. I think they'll win it.
All right.
What do you
Oh,
think?
see now I'm going with Stafford because I trust him way more than Tua. I just
Yeah,
do.
so
Right
do I.
now, I trust him more than Tua. Tyreek Hill, not 100%. You don't
Yeah.
think that matters. That's fine. The Dolphins have lost 5 consecutive primetime games with Tua starting. Okay. They can't seem to come out with wins the past few weeks. I just don't think tonight's going to look good for them.
And they're playing in California too. So
Yeah.
home stadium.
Well, SoFi's not a home stadium for the Rams anyway, so it doesn't really
Still.
matter.
Okay, wait.
Still.
My score prediction though: Rams 23, Dolphins 17.
Oh, so you think it's
Okay.
a
Oh,
one
so it's still
possession
close.
game?
Yeah.
It's gonna
Close
be. I
game.
still think it's
Okay.
gonna be a close game, but I'm definitely gonna take
Some questions I asked when looking at this game was, is this the Dolphins' comeback game? I don't know. The Rams are a really gritty team, and they keep games close. Most of their wins have been by one possession. Most of their losses have been by one possession. They're very consistent. And when you think about that, right, you kind of go to, where are these teams at? The Rams are kind of on and off, while the Dolphins are all off right now. So I have to go to the Rams by one possession for this Monday night game, because that's what they're good at doing.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of 360 Sports. We hope you have a great rest of your day. And please tune in tomorrow for the college football show.
Yep.
That should be a great time considering all that happened this week in college football.
Mhm.
Good night, everybody.